Yay, I think I'm live. Okay, I'm just going to give it a second, see if we can get more people on here. And I'm just checking a couple of things, guys. I'll be right with you. Okay. Hey, everybody. It looks like I have a few on there on Facebook. I am waiting for my chat to kick in. It is acting like it doesn't want to connect. Remember, if you're on Facebook, that I will only see viewers. It won't show me your name if you're chatting. I'm going to pull up my iPad really quick. Hi, Shirley. There it goes. If you're on Facebook and you're chatting, make sure that you type your name so I know who it is, because it will only say viewer. If you're on YouTube, it will show me your name. So thanks for joining me, Shirley. Hey, Louise. And I'm showing all systems go here. So if anybody can't hear or you don't have sound, let me know. Well, that sounds like fun, Shirley. Okay, so we're going to go over a few of the changes that we've made. This is the June calendar, and today is the 11th, so we are live. And tonight we are doing something a little different. We are not putting a project together, but we are going to go and show everyone how you can be inspired by something that you see on Pinterest or on a site or just in images when you're Googling, or you see something on a scrapbook site, things like that, and you see something you like. we are going to show you how you can go in and recreate some of those looks for yourself in Design Space. So, and then we will be live with a supporter file on Monday the 7th, and an annual supporter file will be coming out on the 16th. On the 18th, a regular supporter file with a tutorial video possibly, if it's not self-explanatory. And then on June 19th or Juneteenth, I will be going live on Zoom for my Zoom supporters. I have a new tier on Patreon. It is only available on Patreon because we do not have tiers yet on Ko-fi. So if you are a Patreon Crafting with April Zoomer, you will be able to Zoom craft with me. And that way you will be able to talk. You won't have to type out your questions or anything. You can share screen if you need to share screen. I can share my screen if we need to. So lots of fun changes coming. Hi, Jen. I will be doing that 2 times a month to start with the Zoomers. So be aware of that. And starting this month, I'm going to try to squeeze 2 in, but I may only get 1 Zoom in this month. I am going to possibly try to do 2. But starting in July, it will be 2 or more. Okay? So if you want to level up, like Shirley just said, if you want to level up on Patreon from your $5 to the Zoomer level, then you will be able to join those Zooms. And what we're going to do is we're going to find a project that we like. We're going to vote on it just over our Patreon private messages. We're going to vote on it, and we're going to design that project, cut it, and put it together just like we were sitting at the table crafting together. And that's what we're going to do. We're also going to vote on times each month so that everybody gets a shot at a good time and a day for them. Okay? So my first one is going to be June 19th, just so that you guys know that. So if you want to get in on those Zoomers, then you'll need to go to Patreon and do that. And there is a link down below for Patreon, but let me see if I can put it here. Right there. There's that link. And also, guys, if you need any link, all of my favorite links are right there at Linktree. So you can go there, you can get to Patreon, everything from right there. You can get to my site, the groups, everything from that Linktree. Okay, so let's pop on over and take a look at what we're going to be doing today. And this is the one I did. Now, if you are already a Patreon supporter, I did share the file I made for you. But you can follow along and make your own file if you want to. My file for my supporters does have the envelope in it. So you do have that. And I used some close to my heart paper. It's called Yesterday and Today. It is still available, I believe, in a kit. Judy Behrens LaRue is one of our moderators in the group, and she can help you with that if you don't have a close to my heart consultant. And also Susan Johnson Betts in our group. Hey, Paula, welcome, welcome. So, and if anybody that missed all of that about the Zoomers on Patreon, Paula, all of you, you can watch the replay and it will be on there, or you can go, and I posted it up on Patreon messages as well. But this is the file that I did, okay, in Design Space, and I made mine a slimline. I don't know if that's what this one is that we're about to do, but you can see lots of fun going on here, lots of layers, lots of different materials and stuff. And I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks that you can do as well. Okay, and my camera may be far away, guys, and I understand, and you can see all my mess in here and my stand, but I was trying to fix it so that I could do this and give you guys a little surprise. I might scare you now, so be careful. If I can find it. I'm looking for it. There it is. I wanted to pop in and say, hey, I know you guys haven't seen me on camera for a while, so You can see my craft area. I am outgrowing it super, super, super fast. So I had to get all the clutter cleaned up as much as possible behind me before you guys could come in. And my green screen is still up so that if my husband walks by, he doesn't get caught on camera. He's doing better though, so. All right, so now let's pop on over. Let me find my list here. Here we go. All right, so you saw my card, and here is the one that I saw. I'm going to say I'm pretty sure it was on Pinterest. I really don't remember, guys. I just snapped a screenshot of it, and when I scrapped my screenshot, I cut off the bottom here. So I really don't know who made this card. I'm really not sure. I can see that her name, I think it says Lynn. I can't tell if that's an A, an E, or an N on Lynn. And then I can't really make out her name. I do apologize. I put it on the splash screen as to what I thought it was, but I want to say thank you for being the inspiration. And that's what we're going to base doing our file off of. So if you guys don't know Design Space or you're learning Design Space and you want to follow along, you'll need to pull up your Design Space, okay, and open that up. And I'm just going to keep my little inspiration up here beside me so that I can see it, and that's what's going to help me do that. Ah, you were excited, Shirley? Yes, I did the Cricut video, guys. Oh, I wanted to say too, thank you to all of my supporters. Cannot do any of this without you guys, seriously. And my moderators, they are the bomb. They are the best in the business, guys. Best, best, best ever. So thank you to you guys for everything that you do. So, but I was going to say, guys, I saw some people talking about they're not really vinyl cutters for the Maker 3. Guys, I cut this card on the Maker 3. And I was blown away. No joke, not pulling your leg. I always give my honest opinion. Yes, Cricut did send me the machine, but I would have bought it too. So I'm just going to tell you guys, awesome. It is so fast. It is not just fast when you're cutting smart materials. It cuts so fast and so well, and it's so quiet. You will not believe it. Oh, thank you, Louise. At least I did get a little bit of makeup on. I didn't want to scare everybody too badly by jumping on camera. That's okay, Shirley. You've been a subscriber for a while. So, but I just wanted to let you guys know, if you are not a vinyl cutter, if you cut iron-on, if you cut paper, I don't care what you're cutting, that new Maker 3, if I could, I told one of the Cricut representatives, if I could kiss every Cricut employee, I would, but I didn't want to make it weird. So, oh, thanks, Carla. So anyway, we're going to start with this, and you see this card. Now, you can start with any size base that you want, guys. The base is all up to you. So what you're going to do, and you can click on shapes, and you can grab a shape, and I use my keyboard. I'm on a desktop. You can't do this on mobile, but I'm on a desktop, and I'm just going to type the number 1, and it's going to pop a square in there for me, or it should. I might be lagging a little bit. Yep, I'm lagging a little bit. Let me start my Design Space over. How about that? I've had it up for about 6 hours. Oh, it is an awesome machine, Shirley. I didn't think there was going to be that much difference. There is a huge, huge difference. Alrighty. It's going to make me sign in again. No. No, it didn't. I just hit sign in, so it went in there. Okay, so I have my machine set on my Maker 3. We're going to go and get a new one. And we're going to start that again. We're going to shape, and we're going to type the number 1, or either click on your shape, either one that you want to do. You can see I got 2. I only clicked it once. I clicked 1 and then the number 1. If you're on a keyboard, guys, you can use, like you saw that I didn't click on any shapes. I don't know if all of you saw that. I have shown that in videos before. If you're on a desktop, you can use your keyboard and the numbers will bring up different shapes. So that's a little shortcut for any of you that don't know it, okay? And if I can't remember, but I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, that's it. Hearts are 9. Circles are 2. Squares are 1. I always get confused when I get down to my pentagon and my star and everything, but I don't use those as much. So any of you that didn't know that, that's a little shortcut to getting your shapes. And I'm just going to change this because I'm going to do it according to what this is so that you guys can see and you can tell your shapes apart. You didn't know that, Carla? It's a super easy, quick tool. So I'm just going to come up here and I am going to unlock it. And we are going to change this because I'm doing a slimline. I am going to make mine 8.625, and I hope I got my sizes right for slimline. And 7.25. Louise or Marianne, somebody correct me if I'm wrong on my slimline size. I think that's it. Depending on which way you want to do it. And of course you can rotate it 90 degrees to do the tall one like I did. Depends on how you want it to open. Okay. Is everybody with me? So basically we have our card base, and they've done theirs out of craft cardstock. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get a craft cardstock color, and we're going to make it that color. And now my height is 8.625, so I'm going to get a shape. Score lines won't let you use the shortcut key. I'm just going to say you have to go in and get your score line. So I'm going to make that 8.625. So I have that. I'm going to align it, center, and we're going to attach. So now we have our card base. If you want to write on the inside of your card, okay, you're going to be writing on this side, okay? And if you're doing the bottom, if you're doing a flip up, if you're doing yours opposite, because you can do this card either way, you can make your dad go long ways across the front, then this is where you're going to put your writing. It totally depends on how you want to lay your card out, okay? Because this is just our inspiration piece. We can make it whatever we want to make it with any colors that we want to make it, okay? So you just want to start from your bottom layer and kind of work your way up to create that look. So I'm going to take that rotation back out. I don't want to rotate it. I'm going to go straight up and down with mine. Oops. There we go. So there's my card. And the next thing I'm going to do is click on Images. And I want something for Father's Day on the inside of mine. And so I'm going to come over here to my operation type, and I want to draw only because I want it to write on the inside of my card. Okay, and I'm just going to select this first one and insert the image. Now if you don't have access, you can use your text and have it write it for you, whatever you want to do. I'm going to bring that over and kind of size it down just so I have a little bit of space on each side of my card. And how do you get it and know that you've got it halfway in between? Because if I center this horizontally, look where it goes. And we don't want it in the middle of the fold. What I do is I take and grab my shapes, and again, you can just type a 1 if you want to, and then I'm going to make it half that width. I don't need the length, I just need the width. So the width of the card is actually, when it's folded, is going to be 3.625. Is that correct? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. 7.25 divided by 2 is 3.625, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I was right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my gray square in my base, and I'm going to align to the right, and I'm just going to align to the top. Okay. I'm going to bring this over. It really doesn't matter. You don't really have to align it. You just want it aligned to the right side. That's what you got to pay attention to. Let me arrange and move that backwards so that we can see our writing. Well, it doesn't want to cooperate with me. There it is. Maybe if I make that white so we can see. I hope they fix this soon. There we go. We want it to be on the top. You can drag over here too, guys. So I'm going to select my writing and that white square, and I'm going to align it center. I'm just going to center it. So I know it's centered horizontally, and I'm going to get rid of the white square. And now that, to me, that's a little too high. I'm just going to use my arrow keys and bring that down just slightly. For a slimline card, to me, that's a good height. That gives you plenty of room to sign. And I know that it's centered between the score line and the edge of the card because I used that white square to help me center it horizontally. Okay? Now we're going to select it all. And yes, we have to detach because I don't know why. We used to not have to, but we're going to select everything and then we're just going to attach it. Now, if your Happy Father's Day or whatever writing disappears, it means your square was not to the back. It has to be to the back or it's going to disappear on you. Okay? So now we have that finished. The next thing we need is this layers panel that they have here. You see they've got like a newsprint panel back there. So now we need that panel. You're going to get your square and we're going to unlock that. And I like to do mine on these about 1/8 of an inch. So you can just unlock it and you can do it this way and bring it out and eyeball it. Or you can do exact size, and I believe it's going to be 3.5 wide and 8.5. 3.5, 8.5. That's going to give you just that slight edge all the way around. Okay? So now that's our little newsprint panel. Now they made theirs a little bit smaller. If you prefer yours smaller, make it whatever size you want for that panel. And this is this newsprint panel on the back here behind this piece of ribbon or gauze. To me that looks like mummy wrap, but I used some ribbon and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So that's that piece. I'm going to make that maybe a little bit darker color than what my card is so that I know that that's going to be what I cut my newsprint out of. Okay? That's going to be that color. Actually, because I've got so many pieces, maybe I'll make that lighter just to help me. So I've got that. All my newsprint pieces will be this color here. Okay? So it tells it to go to the mat in that color, and all of my colors I will color sync them to match up. Now if anybody gets lost or you don't understand or you need me to slow down or stop, please just say something in chat and we will repeat it or we'll stop and go over it again. I want everybody to understand how to do their recreations from their inspiration piece. So the next thing that I see on here are these 2 bars right here, and they're a little bit darker than the base. So I am going to go ahead and get another square, and I just hit a 1 on my keyboard. I'm going to unlock that, and I'm just going to eyeball this piece. And I'm going to start with the top one. They went just a little bit above theirs, and if you're going to go up above yours or below it, right here, that panel, then you'll need to make your panel a little bit smaller. But you don't have to. It's totally up to you. So I'm just going to kind of bring that down and lock it. That looks good to me. I'm going to change its color. I'm going to start with my dark color and make that one a little bit darker because I'm going to be cutting that from a different color paper, so I need to make it a different color. Then I'm just going to duplicate it. And then we're going to bring that one over here. So now when I bring those in, those are going to be on my card, and they do kind of pass each other in the middle, just like theirs did. Now mine's not passing as much as theirs did, but most of that was hidden. If you want to make it larger, make it larger. And I just went in and made this, it's 4.5 by 1.5. So I'm just going to change it. And we'll go with that. So I'll get rid of that, and I'm just going to duplicate the one I redid the size on, and that's the one I'm going to use. Okay? Super easy, super simple. Okay? Yay, you're a Zoomer. A Zoomer and a baby boomer. Welcome, Shirley. Okay, so the next layer I see is my ribbon, and I'm going to show you that on the overhead when we get to there, so we can skip that layer. But the next layer I see are these little squares that look like slides. That's what they look like to me. If anybody knows what I mean, the old slide machines with the films in them, that's what they look like to me. And there's an easy way to do this, and then there's a hard way to do this. It's got rounded corners, but these are not rounded. I know it looks rounded right here, but if you look at this one, the inside cut is not rounded, the outside cut is. You can go to Images, and you can, I'm going to clear that operation type. We're going to type in square. But I'm going to go down here to Ownership. It helps if you type it right. I'm going to go down here to the ownership once it searches out, and I'm going to select free. And there's a free one. That's all I need. Okay. Can you make one without using that free shape? Yes, you can. That's a whole nother lesson, but I can show you guys how you can round off the corners of your squares. If you want to see that at some point, we can do that in our Zoomer meetings and stuff like that. So here's our rounded off square, but we have a rectangle right out of the center of it. But before I do that, I want to kind of make these the size that I need. And that looks pretty good to me. And it's really close to 2.25, 2¼ inch. So that's what I'm going to make it. And I'm just going to get rid of this. I've got that one there. I'm going to go in, and I'm intentionally forgetting something just so I can show you guys. They have two layers here. They have a solid layer, and then they have a cut layer. Okay? Bring this over so that we can see. And we're getting our square. And I'm going to unlock that because I really need it to be a rectangle. I had somebody ask me that also. How do you make a rectangle? And that's how. You have to unlock it and skew it. Okay? So get it how you want. And it is a little bit deeper on the top and the bottom than it is the sides. So to me, that looks pretty good. I'm going to align it center. And then we're going to slice. And note that you can only slice 2 layers at a time. Now there is a basic cut, a shadow under there, but it's hidden, so it's still going to allow me to slice. Okay? And you can see that it did not slice my bottom layer. So because I had that bottom layer, I can get rid of that. That's trash. I can just unhide that and have my bottom layer. But you see, oops, it's bigger. It doesn't fit. I'm not going to fool with trying to size it and get it down and make it fit and everything. I'm just going to duplicate this 3 times because I need 3. And a 4th one, I'm going to hit contour, and I am going to hide my contour. And that's what contour does. It removes either the inside or the outside cut line. Okay? And I am removing the inside cut line. If I remove the outside cut line, I'm going to be left with a rectangle. Okay, so I moved that, and now it's solid again. And I'm just going to show you, I can go back and reverse it, And if I reverse it, then I have removed the outside cut line and I have the inside. And you can come back and you can change your contour at any time. I'm going to show all contours until you slice or weld from it. Once you slice or weld from it, then you lose your ability to contour that first shape, but you can contour anything that's left after. So if you see something like a word, like if you see something in there that has butterfly kisses, and you like the way that kisses is written, but you don't want the butterfly part, you can go in and contour butterfly out of that image and just be left with the kisses. And you can do it also with writing, such as this Father's Day that we have on our card back here. What if you didn't want those lines on the side? You can come in here. I'm just going to duplicate that so that I can show. I'm not going to mess up the card. If you didn't want the lines on that, you can contour it and come in and take out those lines just by clicking on them, and then just be left with the Father's Day. So for any of you who are not utilizing that contour tool, it's a fantastic tool if you learn to use it. Okay? So lots of things you can do. You can change almost every image in Design Space and make it your something that you can use by welding, by slicing, or contouring. Okay? Is everybody with me? All right, we need to make these the same color as this panel because it's newsprint. I don't want to go through and come up here and select each one of these and hope that I got the right color. I know I only have one thing that color. I'm coming over to my layers panel to color sync, and I'm just going to drag everything in that color up. And now everything is that color like it's supposed to be. This piece should be a lighter color, so I'm just going to go in and we're going to go to advanced and make it that creamy white color, because we need a different color back there behind the letters. And so I'm going to duplicate that now back in the layers panel. So I have 3. Okay. And I'm like, oh my goodness, now I've got to go and rearrange all of those and arrange and move this to the front. And now I have to select these two and align and center just so that my file looks good and I know how it's going to look, and group that. Guys, when I forget to do those things, I just delete that. Oops. I need to ungroup that and move that to the back. I thought I had it to the back, but I missed it. There we go. And group it. And now I'm just going to duplicate those. So now I have all 3 of them, and I don't have to go through and do all of them. I can just set them up like I want. Okay. And I'm just going to pull this over to the side. I'm going to select all and move this into view. So now I have the inside of my card, and I'm working on the front. We have all of those pieces, and now we have these little tags with the brads on them. Again, first thing I do before I go and I start doing all that slicing and welding, I'm going to leave it on free, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do tag. If you have access, you don't even have to mark the 3 because you can, because you can go in here and pick whatever you want. If you don't have access, you'll need to use your ownership. And so this one looks just fine. I'm going to insert that. And it already has a shadow layer, so I don't have to go and use my offset tool to make one. And I'm just going to leave it like it is, and I'm just going to size it down. And sometimes I like to go in here and kind of twist it and turn it and see if it's going to fit, if I made it a good fit or not. And if I have, I'm good. I'm going to go back and rotate it back to its position. I'm happy with that size, and I believe I actually made mine 1.5 inches tall on my card, so I'm gonna go with that. And it's made out of the same color, and I'm going to use that shadow layer too, but I want to use my shadow layer, and my shadow layer is going to be whatever color I choose on there. So I'm going to go probably with the same color as my card base. So I'm going to go over to my color sync. I'm going to find that gray piece, and I'm going to drag it up to my card base and change the color of it. I'm going to drag this up to my newsprint, and now that card is set, and I need 3 of those, so I'm going to duplicate it. But this one has a little star on it, the same color as that base. So how am I going to do that without wasting paper? Guys, nobody's ever going to see it. I do this frequently. I'm going to ungroup one of these. I'm going to grab myself a star. I'm going to bring that star in, and I'm going to size it down to where it looks good. Looks like it's about the same size that's on that shape. And I am going to put it on the base piece. I'm going to select those two. I'm going to slice it. You can attach too. To attach will do the same thing here. And I'm just going to delete that because when it cuts, that piece is still going to be in there, right? I'm going to save that piece where it cuts out, and I'm going to pop it on the top of it, and nobody's ever going to know that I have that star that I placed on the top corner here is actually out of the back piece. Nobody will ever know. I'm going to line that center and group it back. So now I have all of my tags and my little star. So we're getting there, and I'm not going to twist these. I'm just going to leave them. So we have all of our little, oops, I'll get this right in a minute, our tags. So we have all of our tags, and you can mix match them. I didn't do mine exactly like this. I played around with mine. So now we need our dad, and we're going to go in and type text, and I'm going to do D, and I'm enter, and then A, enter, and then D, and enter. So now I have that. I'm going to go in, and I think I used Times New Roman. Most everybody has that. So I click that right there. And now I have those. And I'm just going to make them black because I did cut mine out of black. Our new default is gray. Okay. Yeah, Shirley's a boomer zoomer. Let's see. I just saw that at the very end. It just popped through there for me. So this one, I looked at it, and you notice it really does not have an offset, but it looks like they cut it twice and used that light color back there for it. But I decided to offset mine. So I came to my offset tool, and I used the rounded. I did not weld my offsets. I unmarked that, and I brought it down to 0.05, just so it was super small, like so, and then I hit apply. So now I have this layer, and they're not attached, okay? And I'm just going to come in, and I'm going to make it that lighter color, and then place that over. Okay, so I'm just going to go into Color Sync, bring those up to the lighter color. I'm going to select all of it, and I'm going to group it. Okay, now I'm going to size that like I need it. And basically, I didn't size mine much from what it was in on the thing. I just left them kind of large. But everything is grouped, and now I have those. Now I'm going to ungroup them. And I'm going to ungroup my letters. I'm going to align center and group that and duplicate it. So I have that D, align center, group, and I'm bringing them over here. So I've got my little bit of a shadow layer. Actually, I want to make that A just slightly larger because I want it to hit the top and the bottom of my slide. And then I can just delete that when I don't need it. That just kept me from having to align again. So is everybody still with me? Super, super easy to recreate your cards, guys. So now we have this bullet piece, or what I call a bullet piece. You could probably find an oval in there that's that shape, or a pill shape is another thing that we like to call it, for everything you do. My simple, easy way of doing it is get a square, 2 circles, okay? I am going to move, actually you only need 1 circle. you're going to bring this in and you're going to unlock it. And you're going to size that up. So I know that it's going to fit on my card in here somewhere right around here. How wide do I want it? How narrow? Totally up to you. You're going to lay out your card and your pieces like you have, like you're going to put them on your card, and that looks like it will fit nicely. I still have some playroom here, plenty of playroom. So that looks like a good size to me. And it's right at a 1/2 inch. I'm looking up here 5/2/8, so I'm just going to make it a 1/2 inch to make it easier. Oops, 0.5. There we go. And I'm just going to round that out to 3 inches wide. Okay, just so I've got a nice, easy number to work with. So I've got a 3 by a 1/2 inch piece. I'm going to make this circle a 1/2 inch. So whatever the height of this piece is, that's the height of your circle. Okay? Just so you guys can see easier, I'm going to make this a light gray. And I'm going to bring this circle in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it backwards. I'm going to bring this to the front. So I'm just going to line up my circle. You can see I'm selecting the circle, and the crosshair in the circle here, I am going to put it right flat against that piece. I'm going to duplicate the circle, bring it down to this end. I'm going to arrange and move it backward. And I'm going to do the same thing. I want the center of that crosshair right at the end of that piece. I'm going to select all 3 pieces. I'm going to align, center vertically, or top or bottom, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to weld it. And now I have my bullet shaped piece. Okay? I'm just going to size it down a little bit so it fits on the width of my card like I want it. Okay? And I'm aligning that to this back panel here, guys. You can always slide that panel out and make sure that you're within those widths. Okay? And to me, that's a little wide. I did mine almost as wide as my panel. So I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit more. And you want to do this before you do your writing. So that looks good to me. And that was cut out of the same as the light color piece. I actually cut this and my thanks on printed paper because I did the trick that I will show you guys in Zoom meetings. I tricked it, but you can do a flatten for a print and cut. That's what we're doing here. So if I'm going to cut this out of craft cardstock, I'm going to cut this piece out of craft cardstock too. But because I'm going to flatten it, I'm going to make it white. And the reason I'm making it white is white does not print a color. And so it's just going to print whatever, my black writing, onto the craft cardstock that I put in my printer, and then it's going to cut it. But if I make this the color of this, it's going to print that color over the craft cardstock. And I don't want to do that. It's just a waste of ink. So I've got that piece there. So I'm going to go in and get some text. And I don't even remember what text I used, but I put for everything you do. Make sure I've got everything typed right. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to clear this out. And I'm going to look for a font that I like. I'm going to go with Cricut fonts here. And you can use just about anything you want. I'm just going to grab one. And we've changed that. And I'm going to change that lettering to whatever color you want it to be. And I am going to shrink it down. We don't need it to be 31 inches wide. We only need it to be about 3 inches, I think. And maybe 275. So there we have our print for that. We're going to select that and the back piece. We're going to line, center, and then you're going to flatten. And I'm just going to go back and back up a step here. And you see that I have this layer and then this layer. So I have 2 layers. Okay, if I just flatten this, then all I've done is flatten the lettering. and it's going to cut each one of those letters individually. It's still 2 layers, okay? You want to make sure that you are selecting it. I'm going to unflatten that. See if I can just undo. There we go. So I'm just going to select both of those. We're going to align, center, and flatten them, and watch the layers panel. Now they become one single layer. Oops, it disappeared. Anybody know why it disappeared? Okay, it's because it was not to the back. Okay, so I'm going to undo it. And then you can see my text is showing on top and my piece is below it. But Design Space right now is not seeing it that way. So I'm going to take that piece, arrange, send it to the back, select those two, and flatten. And now it flattened out correctly. So if your writing disappears, or your print and cut disappears, or your print, what you're putting on there, vanishes, make sure that you have actually got it to the back. Even though it shows in the layers panel that it was to the back, it really wasn't. Okay? And guys, we're almost through designing this entire card. How easy is this? So the next thing we want to do is get our thanks. And you can do this in any font that you want. And I think I used the Balak is what I used. Yep. So no, that's not it. That is not Bayamo. That's the one I used. I don't know how you say that. Bayamo. I don't know. B-A-Y-A-M-O. Bayamo. Who knows? And I didn't want to cut that and have to deal with smaller pieces because this is going to be small. And I'm just going to kind of guesstimate the size I want it. Going to go up to my offset, and it's still set at 0.05 from my previous, but I'm going to weld my offsets now and apply it, and now I have that one. And we're going to come in here, and again, because I'm doing it out of the same paper that this one is, and it's going to be a print and cut, I'm going to change that to white, and I'm going to bring these two together. I need to make that black, or it's going to print that gray, so make sure you change your wording to the color you want. Align it, center, okay, and now we're going to flatten. And now these two pieces are print and cut. And guess what, guys? Our card's done. It's ready to go. We're going to save it. And then you can put it in your files. You can organize it and put it in there. And now you're ready to cut your card. Super easy, super simple. And guys, just in this little bit of time, you have learned slice, weld, attach, flatten, grouping. Did I leave anything else? You learned writing. In this little bit of time, we covered almost every single thing there is in Design Space. You used your align, you used your arrange, we used sizing, we used offset, we used our shapes, we searched. Super, super easy. Please don't be intimidated by Design Space. In 45 minutes, because I talked, I know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, under 45 minutes, we designed that entire card to get that exact look. So lots and lots of tools that we just went over. You've used almost everything, including print and cut. We covered all of that on this one card. And how to get free shapes. Yes, Shirley, I showed you how to go in and get your free shapes. You can go in there. Everything in here is free shapes, basically, except maybe the fonts that I used. But if you have access, then they're free for you anyway. But guys, when you're in here and you search those images, maybe a drop, you can come in here and come to that ownership and select free, and it's only going to show you. So we know that there are no free shapes of that. So is there anything that I've purchased? maybe in a drop, and it's going to show me all of those that I have purchased. If you want everything in access, then of course anything with a green A is in your access. That's perfectly fine, Shirley. Somebody asked something about Zoom meetings. Cindy, the Patreon member does not include the Zoom meetings unless you're on that tier. I added a new tier for that. Okay, so I'm just going to pop over to the overhead now. And we're going to talk about what you can use for this layer that they used in that card. And I think that what they used was like a gauze type ribbon. And you can find it at hobby stores, or maybe the mummy gauze that they use for Halloween decorations is what they used and maybe tinted it. This right here is a piece of ribbon. Okay, I used this piece of ribbon, and all I did was cut down the sides because it's stitched so that it won't unravel. And I cut the sides off, and then I just pulled some strands out. That's all I did, just to give me the look that I wanted. So you can do that and get that look. And then all I did was glue it on with art glitter glue. And all I did was kind of twist it. And before or after, totally up to you, I used toffee colored ink from Close to My Heart, and I just brushed on some color onto it to kind of distress it a little bit. And I placed it on there, and then I started layering up all of my pieces. Okay, and I forgot to put my star on there because I lost it. So don't lose your star. I vacuumed, and I know it got sucked up in the vacuum cleaner. So another thing that you can do if you don't have this, guys, everybody has cardboard boxes. We get stuff. All I did was just kind of cut this to a shape. Now you can cut it to the length that you need or whatever. Guys, this makes awesome for different decor, especially on guys' cards, and giving you different dimensions and different mediums on your cards. You can ink up on this and distress it out as well. And all you really have to do is just start peeling the cardboard paper backing away, and it's going to look different every time you do it. You can even mist it a little bit with a alcohol mister. I'm just going to, all I've got is some alcohol and water mix in here. And I just sprayed it lightly, and that'll help loosen it up. And that's going to give you different peels. When you go and peel it, it's going to tear in different places. So that is something that you can do to give your card a different texture, especially on guys' cards. Okay, it looks super awesome. I even have a card in for the that has dragonflies and cattails and stuff on it in the Patreon files or the supporter files. So you guys have a card that I did this with. Cricut also sells, I guess if they haven't discontinued it, they sell the corrugated. So if you don't want this look but you want clean corrugated, they sell a corrugated cardstock in there if it's still available. I have a stash of it where I purchased some so that I would have it in case it got discontinued. So there are just lots and lots and lots of things that you can do, guys. Use what you have on hand. I mean, scraps of ribbon, just things that you would normally throw away. You can make a manly type card with so many different mediums. Just look around you and get creative. Oh, thank you, Ratchet. Super fun and super easy, and it will look just as good. Pick papers. I mean, it's not going to look good on this one, of course, because I did this in a different type paper and a different color theme. But if I was using craft cardstock and building it up like we built up our file, then I would definitely use this with craft cardstock. After you peel it, just take your scissors and just kind of shape it around. Cut off all those sharp edges. And that way you've got a totally different look. And you may even want to just leave some in the middle and come back and peel some more. So you can work this out any way you want it. You can even have parts of it folded back and then ink it. And then when you place your other pieces on there, it's going to give you some dimension. Okay? So play around with it, guys. Have fun. So Cindy, back to the Patreon. If you become a Patreon Crafting with April Zoomer, we are going to have a minimum of one. Well, this month may only be one. I'm going to try to squeeze 2 in for June because it's mid-month. I may not be able to get 2 in this month. But starting next month, there will be a minimum of 2 Zoom meetings where we will do something like we did tonight. I gave you guys a little taste of what we would be doing. And we're basically going to be crafting together and sharing our ideas, creating a file, but then we will actually come in and cut it and assemble it. So we're going to do the whole crafting Zoomer meeting, and you'll be able to chat. You won't have to type in your chat. You will be able to actually key up your mic, and you will be able to speak to me and ask me questions, and I can talk with you guys that way. So that's what the Zoomer is for. And if you want to be a Zoomer and you want to join in on that, we can do that. I am going to limit it if it gets really popular. I've got it limited to 100 people, but what I may do is if it gets really, really busy, I may do extra Zoom meetings so that you guys can split up and we won't be talking over each other. But we're going to be doing that, and just anything. We're going to be chatting around the mat. It's going to be a ton of fun, because we're going to be picking our projects ahead of time. We are going to be doing them. We're going to be designing them together. We're going to be making changes with them together, and we're going to be selecting our papers. We'll be able to share screens with you guys. You will be able to share your screen with me if you get stuck, and we're going to craft together. So it's going to be tons and tons of fun. So anybody that wants to join in on that, there is my Patreon link. So you can do that. And if you just want the files, you can just join on the regular tier. If you don't want to Zoom, you can join in the regular tier and still get all the files. I have some SVG files. Most of my files are Design Space files. I do SVGs when I can't do Design Space. So there are a few of those. I also do requests for my supporters only. I will help you create your SVGs if you need it. So don't forget that. That is another perk that you guys have. You would go to that link that I just posted in there, Cindy, and you would join the Zoomer tier. That's it. And then you're going to install Zoom on your computer so that you can chat with me and be able to see. Once the Zoom meetings come up, once I schedule them, everybody on that level will get their Zoom link and their password so that they can join the meeting. You can't join it without the link or the password. And then if anybody happens to share their link accidentally or anything like that, it will show me who's in the room if they're not supposed to be there. I don't want to, but I would have to remove you because it is a perk that they paid for. Okay? So Cindy, if you want to join that, trust me, anybody that joins the Zoomer, I will help you. And if you can't get connected or whatever with your Zoom, I will help you, and I will work with you to make sure that you get in there. You're not going to be left out, because some of it, I know Zoom is new to some of you guys, and I will help you with it, and you will learn it in no time. It's super easy to join a meeting. It's just a couple of clicks. Well, one click and a password. Click, you're in. Okay? All right, guys, we still have a minute here. Does anybody have any more questions? Can you believe that we totally designed that card and got everything done for you guys, top to bottom? Shirley, that's okay. You just let me know in advance. That's perfectly fine. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not subscribed. Get your friends, your crafting friends, to please subscribe. Leave a thumbs up on YouTube, a like on Facebook. Please, please, please join us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Again, Zoomers are Patreon only. And if, as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the group. Happy to help. And please, guys, if you're on YouTube, please leave a comment down below. Like the video, leave a comment, please. It helps our ratings. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you on Monday. And we will talk more about our Zooming in that meeting. Or if you need to, if you're already a Patreon, you can message me. I'll help you out. Thanks for joining me. Thank you, moderators. You guys are the best. Greatly, greatly appreciate you.